Hi, I'm Bethany Wilson from Doggercise Dog Training. Now, if you've taken a look at this video, you know it's pretty long. It's a big video, and it's a part 1 out of part 2, and you need to see both parts, even if your dog has minor issues. The reason it's a big video is because walking reactive dogs is a big issue. Now, I use 2 different tools in this video. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know I use treats all the time, but there are lots of times when treats just don't work for a number of reasons. It gets dogs way too excited, and they can't focus, and then you're just redirecting crazy behavior into food, and you can lose a finger that way. Or they won't even take food because they're so overstimulated. Or you have a dog with food aggression issues and you don't want to add excitement, to the mix, with treats. So there's a lot of reasons you can't use food. So in this video, we're using just a simple slip leash, and then we're also using a prong collar. Now, if you haven't used a prong before, it's the medieval tool that you see. I know it looks scary, but I've been training since I was a little girl, and I've used everything. And I actually prefer these over choke chains, flat buckle collars, some harnesses, and even head halters, or the gentle leaders, because they can do damage too. These actually distribute even pressure all the way around the neck. You don't have any of those severe trachea issues, and you don't have any pulling, which is nice. So if you have any more questions about the prong, or if you're surprised to see it because maybe you've had a bad experience with it or heard bad things about it, there are some really great videos that I'm putting in the information area down below that explain, the uses of it, how to fit it properly, and they just go into better detail about, how you have to understand that sometimes the needs of your dog and our emotional perspective doesn't match up. And you'll see from these videos what I'm talking about, okay? So stay tuned. Okay, starting with Caesar, our easiest case, I'm using a slip collar with him. He's currently at a dog rescue, but he can't be adopted out due to pulling, lunging, jumping, biting, incessant barking at people and at dogs, which I show you just a little bit of that here. You can see how he can't stand to stay in one place, and he eventually starts to mouth and bite. I'm laughing here because I'm trying to reassure my camera person that he is not aggressive, which is difficult to do, and nobody wants him, which is really sad because it's something that I can fix fairly easily. Now, I'm not trying to do anything with him. So I'm just typically holding a leash, and I'm not kidding. This is over a 100-pound dog, and if I just hold on for dear life like most people do, he can easily drag me down, take me down, and that can happen to anybody. So I just wanted to point that out, and now we're going to get down to business. I do want to point out that we did threshold training with the gait, and right here is a link to that. It's really short. It's really important to see. The walk doesn't start with the walk itself. It actually starts with inside leashing up the dog and taking him out the door, so please take a peek at that. Okay, so this slip leash is really high on his neck. It's right underneath his, his mouth and behind his ears. Now, what I'm doing is a great term for it is conversational leash work. It's a really great term that that another trainer uses, and it couldn't be more perfect because what you're doing is you're teaching the dog to give in to pressure. So he moves one way or out ahead of me, and I move the opposite way. Tension on the leash. As soon as the dog decides to follow me, the leash loosens right away. So by doing this, what they learn is how it's basically what you want. So they feel tension, and they learn how to move into you. Okay, so this creates muscle memory. Every time they feel tension on the walk, they learn to turn and look at you, follow you, etc. So tension, as soon as he decides to turn around, I loosen the leash. And I know this looks chaotic, but you really will get into a rhythm. It does take some practice, especially with the slip leash, to get the hang of it. But you basically go in the opposite direction that they want to go. Or if they pull out ahead of you, you just turn around. And so you're teaching them to stick with you. Now, what will happen really quickly is he'll just settle down, which is so important in his situation because he's in a kennel environment. And then you can start to actually correct the dog once they just get a little bit more in tune with you. And that's what we're trying to do. I mean, these dogs are so out of their mind, overstimulated when they're reactive to squirrels or people or dogs, that there's no conversation. You might as well not even be there. You know, you're just out there and they're pulling and barking and dragging you along. So you have to be able to cut through that to be able to tell them what it is you want them to do. And if you want to use treat training, you can go right ahead, but not in the beginning, not with a dog with behavioral problems, because you want them to be more settled first so you can communicate what they're doing good. Otherwise, you're just using food as a distraction and you're just transferring the crazy energy to the food. And then in many cases, the food doesn't even work. So I have some high-value treats that he'll take in his kennel, and he does not want them. He completely ignores them. And it's just, he's too overstimulated. His state of mind is too much on the outside. So here's the thing, they can't learn anything from that. Even if he did take a treat, he wouldn't even know what he was being rewarded for. So you've got to settle them first, and then you can do the counter conditioning and, you know, build in that positive reinforcement. But in the beginning, it can really hurt you if you don't time it right. You can be rewarding the wrong thing if they're the least bit anxious or overexcited to see a person or a squirrel. All you're doing is distracting and then rewarding that state of mind, which if you're having behavioral issues, you do not want to do. Okay, so as you can see by the past several seconds, we've gone into correction mode with Caesar. He's ready for it, so I wanted to see how he started to respond to them. And as you can see, he's doing really well. I'm still not correcting on my turns. I'm just doing the pressure, but that's just because that's the hardest for him, is staying in tune with me whenever I turn. So I'm still doing pressure for that. Now notice I'm not correcting up. That's so important. I'm correcting behind my leg, or if he's a little bit in front, I'll correct in front of my leg and to the side. I cannot stress the importance of that. You do not correct up and back ever. So just a different view. I'm doing a turn, so I'm still using pressure at this point. And then correction. I'm trying to show them as well as possible so you can see them that it's loose leash and pop corrections. So I'm turning, so there's pressure, and then back to, I'm sure there'll be another one in a minute. Yeah, pop correction. But I mean, look how good he's doing. This is completely different than the dog that we first saw come out of the kennel. This is a dog that can be adopted out tomorrow if the handler handles them like this when they show him. Okay, we actually did this technique before we went to corrections. He was being really bratty because we had people around us, and he wags his tail and pulls up high. So I did this to settle him down. It can be dangerous with some dogs with dominance issues, but Caesar's more, you know, I've jumped on people to get my way my whole life kind of attitude. It's not a real, you know, dominance problem or anything. So I started moving into him, and you get to see some of the fight in him. And it doesn't show that he's a bad dog. He's not. He's a great dog. But what it does show is just that he has behaved a certain way to get his way, and they've let him. They meaning, you know, whoever was in his past, because it's definitely an ingrained behavior, his mouthing and jumping when, heaven forbid, you do something he doesn't like. So what I was doing was I was going in towards him, using my body to do so, and then I would walk him a bit to see if his attitude improved. And you can see his tail's not going as high when he was going towards those people, so that's really nice. So that's just another technique that you can do. Don't overdo it, you know, don't do it till you get dizzy and the dog has just had it, but in small doses, that can be really useful. Do not do this, though, if you have a dog reactive dog and other dogs are around, or if you have any fear that the dog will turn on you, will redirect their energy onto you. And if you look back through the footage, you'll see the difference with his tail. And the reason that's a big deal for him is because he barks incessantly at people, even though he's friendly. So this is actually really huge. And I'm really proud of him. He's an absolute love, and this literally was maybe 20 minutes of work, and that's how easy it was to tame this wild beast. Okay, so just really quick, I wanted to make sure I was clear on corrections. So tension is bad when you're walking your dog and the dog is here and you're back here. So you don't want tension unless you're doing the very slow and controlled conversational leash work. So when you get to corrections, you want to make sure you have just a few inches of slack so the dog can't get too far ahead of you. So it's literally 2 to 3 inches. It doesn't matter how big the dog is. And so corrections are very sharp, okay? They're, if you kind of pull and pop at the same time, the dog's probably going to physically move, and it'll probably let you know that you might have pulled more than popped. So it's very quick, very clean, really communicates to the point. That was my German Shepherd. It really communicates to the point what you're trying to get across. So to kind of put it in another way, if you've ever been flicked, it's really quick, really sharp. That's what it needs to be like. And sometimes, depending on the dog, I'll go into an appointment right away, and we'll start, if we're just using a slip leash, we'll start corrections right away. It just kind of depends on the dog. So if your dog has been pulling for years, you might be able to put a slip leash on him, go out there, and just do corrections right away and not have to do the conversational leash work. But if you do the prong training, the conversational leash work, the turnarounds, they're not negotiable. Okay, so I just want to be clear on that. Slip leash, you can sometimes just go right out and start correcting. Prong collars, never. I won't say never, but you definitely, it's close to never. We'll stick with never. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I realized my video was super long, so I decided to go ahead and cut it. And the next section, part 2, click here please, is all about the prong part of this equation. So it's really beneficial to watch both parts, even if you're just doing, one of the tools. And if you have any question, info@doggersizela.com is the email. Check out our website, doggersizedogtraining.com.